Hello everyone and welcome to Werven's World and welcome to my How to Play the Big Book of Madness. The Big Book of Madness is a game from 2015 designed by Maxime Rambourg and it's published by a lot of publishers under which Portal Games and Heidelberger Spieleverlag. So it is a very interesting cooperative game, plays from 2 to 5 players, but it's also very much possible to play it solo. And whenever I play it solo, I kind of play the same rules as with 2 players, where I just kind of control 2 characters. So this is a deck building game, and before we go into the rules explanation, let's go first into how to set it up. Of course, if you have Tabletop Simulator, it will already be set up for you, but of course, if you just play the normal board game, it won't be. So let's dig into how to set it up exactly. You will find one difference, and that is here these nice player aids. They are not available in the board game itself. The person who made this mod for Tabletop Simulator has made these, and they're absolutely beautiful. So of course, you can hunt down the original files and print them out yourself, but otherwise you won't have these. But let's start setting up the game. Basically, you will choose a character, and every character has a different special ability as well as a different starting hand. So let's say this one is this person and this one is this person. Then now we both have a character, and you can also see that they both have a different starting hand. So this one starts with 1 card, 2 firepower, 3 of 1 firepower, 3 of 1 light power, 3 of 1 air power, and 2 of 1 nature power. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and one of these. So that is the starting deck for this character. We put that on the draw pile, we flip it around, and we shuffle it. The same with this one, although this one starts with a different hand. So this one has 1, 2 green, 4 ones, and 3 fire, 3 blue. That should be 3, yes, and one of these. And the same here, we will put it on the draw pile and shuffle it. Because we play with 2 players, we will only want 20 madness cards. So I'm going to put on the UI and then get rid of some madness cards until we have 20, 23, 20. There we go. We get rid of all of these. And that's fine like that. Then we need to set up the book, and we need to take 1 spell book cover randomly. And 5 of these pages. We have 12, so I'm just going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and get rid of the rest. Then we put that here. We put the cover on top that we just chose. And now the spellbook is ready. Now we also get rid of these 1 value cards because we don't need them anymore. We put the book here on this icon here, kind of where the monsters get summoned. We put the curse cards here, and now we have to prepare our spell library. So in this game there are power 1, power 2, power 3 spells, and they will be randomized for every game to maximize replayability. And the library will consist of 1 3 power spell, on top of that is a 2 power spell, and on top of that is a 1 power spell. And the rest of the things can basically go back in the box because you will not be using them. Then these characters we also won't be using. And every character starts with the 4 basic spells, and those are the same for each character. And that's Growth, Combustion, Ice, and Telepathy. So it's a 1 power spell for each element. Alright, then we've got all the curse cards here sorted by color. Let's shuffle these as well. And then we are basically ready to play the game. Alright, before we look at the rules though, let's first check one thing here. The spell library, always the first card is turned around. And this is basically a pool of cards that we can buy. And we have to buy the weak spells before we can get to the more powerful spells. So that's even if you don't want the spell, then you kind of should try to get rid of it to see if the more powerful spells are more useful for you. Alright, now we can start the game basically. So let's look at how a turn works. First, we do the concentration phase, which is refresh your spells. So let's say this guy would start and he had already used a spell like this one, then you would just refresh it to notify yourself that you can use them again. All right, Then there is the monster phase. So then we have to advance the invocation marker and apply curse effects. In the first round, it starts here. So now we will actually move that marker. And this icon means that a new monster comes on the board. So we will flip this tome. And we can see that here these cute wasp creatures are the next monster that we have to fight. They come with a come into play ability, this one here. Each player places the top 2 cards of their deck in their discard pile. So we will do that. 1, 2, and 1, 2. Then this monster will put down 3 curses. A white one, a blue one, and a red one. And you have to do it in the right order. And that is basically it. So now we've done the monster phase. So we have advanced the invocation marker and we applied the curse effects if applicable, which they're not yet. This is the invocation marker. The next turn, this thing will move here. And if this curse is still here, we will have to do this penalty. Each player destroys the top card of the deck. If it comes here, we have to do both of these penalties because turn 3 has 2 curses. Then it goes to turn 4, nothing would happen. To turn 5, nothing would happen, and so on. But now it's still turn 1, so there's no applicable curse yet. All right, then we can kind of start with the action phase. One thing you do though before you actually start the game is you draw 6 cards. All right, and now we can start looking at what we can do. So this one here is the start player. The problem is now we want to get rid of this white one because as soon as I have done my turn, it will become this player's turn and we move this invocation marker and then we will already have this first curse. We don't want that to happen, but it will be hard not to have it happen because in order to kill a curse, we need 4 white elements. This one has 2, this one has 0, so it's going to be very, very hard to get them because this one actually only has 1 of those cards in his deck, and this one only has 3 of those in his deck, and he already has 2 of them in his hand. So the chance that we will actually manage to get rid of this curse is very, very slim. So maybe we should actually focus on the other curses. But before that, let's see what other things we can do. We can learn a spell, which means that we can actually take one of these spells. And this one costs 2 green, this one costs 2 red, 2 blue, and 2 white. So if I would, for example, discard this card here, which counts as 2 red, I could buy this spell, Concentration. Destroy 1 card from your discard pile. I could also use these 2 white ones to buy this white one, receive 1 card in your hand from another player's hand. 2 blue ones to get Torrential Rain. 1 player shuffles their discard pile and support into their deck, which is very powerful, and I will go into why in a minute. And that's basically all the spells that I could buy. This one could buy the green one as well. So then we can cast a spell. We have all these spells here, and spells are quite interesting in this game. For example, Growth. You pay 1 green, you draw 1 card. However, you can supercharge these up to 3 times their value. So you can say, I want to spend 3 green, but then I get to draw 3 cards. However, you only get to cast this spell once. So let's say I would cast it with this one for 2. I would then tap it, and then I would draw 2 cards. However, if then I would draw another green card, I couldn't use that to cast a spell again because I just cast it. All right. So then there is a red spell that I have, destroy 1 card from your hand. A blue card, place 1 card from your hand in support. And a yellow one, other player takes 1 action. And this is very powerful, and I will go into why later. Which brings me to the support. Place 1 card from your hand in support. If I would spend a blue one, I could then, for example, put this red one here into support. And that means it's a common pool. The support pools are common between both players. So this player can use this player's support pool and the other way around. Which means that if it would be that player's turn, he could cure or destroy this curse, because that needs 4 red cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that way I could help him this player with his curse by giving him a red card in the support pool. So that's a very nice spell to have. All right, then we can gain an element card. To gain a value of this card, you need to discard a same amount of value. So let's say I want to have another green 2 card in my deck. I would put it on my discard pile, and I would have to spend 2 power of my own. If I would want a 3 level card, I would have to spend 3 green instead. So in that way, I can make my deck more powerful by buying better cards. Then I can destroy a curse. We already went into that. I could, this one, for example, could then destroy the red one by discarding 4 power of red if this one was in the support. And then there is Heal Yourself. Throughout the game, we will be getting these Madness cards. And if you have a Madness card, they don't do anything but clog up your hand, because you can never really discard them automatically. So then you could heal it by spending 2 of one element. So either 2 blue or 2 green, for example, and I could get rid of this and put it in the destroyed cards pile. So those are the things I can do at the moment. Well, as we can see, there is no green curse at the moment yet. And also we can see here on discard that the next monster will also not have a green curse. So I can freely use these cards now to make myself more powerful. Either I could buy this thing here, destroy 1 card from your hand or the support pool, then receive 1 higher card to your discard pile. Or I could buy, for example, a 3 green one, or I could now spend 3 green to draw 3 cards to hopefully maybe draw some more blue to put more stuff in the support or something like that. However, I don't really have much to put in the support, as if I look here, there wouldn't be enough to kill any of these curses. So I think the best way of action might just be to buy this spell here and then use this one to draw 1 card, which is another green one. All right, then I could destroy 1 card from my hand or the support pool and then receive 1 higher value card to my discard pile. That can actually be quite nice, because now this one already has 3 red, but we need to get rid of this curse. So what I could try to do is I could discard this blue one to cast Ice, place 1 card from your hand in support. So that means that that player can use it in a bit. But now I have this red one that doesn't really do anything at the moment. So I could destroy that card and then receive 1 higher value card to my discard pile. So I could cast that, discard this green one, destroy this one, which means it goes to the destroyed cards pile, and then get a better one on my discard pile instead. So now I have a more powerful fire card. I will save this blue card because we might still need it to beat this blue curse. So what will happen now? I will basically say, okay, this is the end of my turn, and at the end of the turn you have a recuperation phase, which means you draw or discard to get your hand to 6 cards. If you have 6 madness cards in your hand, then you are eliminated. So I basically draw cards. 2. And now something interesting happens. I don't have enough cards to draw. So what I do then is I kind of reshuffle this one, but first I add a madness card to it. So that kind of is a timer. If you go through your deck all the time, you will get more and more madness cards in there. And that is first of all terrible because it clogs up your deck. But also if you run out of madness cards from the pile, you also lose the game. So let's shuffle this and draw 2 more. All right. And now it's this guy's turn. So he starts with the concentration phase, where he refreshes his spells. We've already done that. Then it goes to the monster phase. Advance the invocation marker if 0 new monster. Well, we advance the invocation marker. Boop. And now we get this curse. Each player destroys the top card of their deck. So this card is destroyed. And this card is destroyed. Ooh, and there I got very lucky that it was actually the madness card that was destroyed. So that's actually, this curse wasn't all that bad. But these 2 curses are terrible. Each player receives 1 madness in their discard pile. So we would already get rid of 4 madness cards of the deck by just having these 2 curses on us. So we want to get rid of them. So what will we do now? Now it gets very interesting. So let's start with the obvious. Let's get rid of this red card. So we discard 1, 2, 3, and we discard this one to the owner. And then we've used 4 fire to get rid of the 4 fire curse card. That means we get a reward, and a reward for destroying a curse card is always 1 2 power card of your own choice. So I think in this case it might be good to either get a blue one or a white one. I will go for the white one for now. Now we need to find a way to get rid of this blue card before it's actually this player's turn. Now, it will be very hard because at the moment we have 2 blue and nothing else. However, we know that there is still 1 blue in this guy's deck. One thing that we then could do is we would first put in a blue one into the support by casting ice. And then we could cast telepathy, which means that this player could take 2 actions if we cast it with 2 white. And the first one would be to cast growth with these cards, and then hopefully draw a blue one, and then with the second action he would get from that spell, he could then destroy the curse with blue, the blue he drew, and the blue from the support. However, unfortunately, there is one problem. This player already cast growth in his turn, and it hasn't been refreshed yet. So unfortunately, that plan wouldn't work out. But let's say he had growth, just for the sake of argument. What then we could do is we would cast telepathy, we would discard these 2 cards. Then this guy could do 2 actions, and the first would be to spend 3 green to draw 3 cards in the hope that we would get a blue one. 2, 3. And there is a blue one. Perfect. Then the second action he would get, because telepathy had 2 mana in it instead of 1, would be to destroy a curse, which would be blue, and this blue. And then we would get rid of this blue curse, and this player would get the reward because he actually destroyed the curse. So I could then choose, for example, a 2 of white. And then this player would say, okay, that was the end of my turn. I'm going to draw 6 new cards. Now we have to put a madness card in there, flip it around, reshuffle it. There we go. And now it would be green's turn again. And we would first refresh all the spells. And then we would move this marker. And because we destroyed all the curses, nothing happened. So now it gets quite interesting. I have these cards. I don't get to draw new ones until the end of my turn. But now we could start making ourselves stronger because we still need to get rid of this white card. But we already know that red has enough cards to get rid of that card. So this player can now use all his mana to either try to get sets of this blue, red, or white that's coming up in a couple of turns, or he could just start buying some spells and making his deck stronger with this stuff. That's all up to the player himself. All right, so now that we know how the general game goes, what else is here? Well, let's first say now it would be this guy's turn. I would do my stuff. It would be red's turn. We would move this. It would be green's turn again, we would move this. And then on red's turn, we move this here. And then we do a check. If all the curses have been eliminated, then we get a reward, which is the top one. One player of your choice gains any one spell in the library. That's really nice. But in this case, for example, if we wouldn't have actually destroyed this curse, we would have gone a penalty. Destroy 4 madness from the madness stack. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, as I said, when this is empty, we die. Or actually, not entirely true. If this is empty and then you need to draw another madness card, then you die. Or you lose the game. Alright, so, but then, at this point, the monster is either beaten or not. But then we go to the next page. And then we do the effects of this monster. Each player adds 1 madness to the hand. And we put these curses here, blue, red, and white. Blue, red, and white. And then we just continue the game like we've been doing. Like we go here, and then we go through rounds again until you get to the last monster. And if you don't beat this monster, you lose the game. And if you do beat it, you win the game. But there are 2 more things, I think. First of all, this is the easiest difficulty. Against the first monster, nothing happens. Against the second monster, nothing happens. Against the third monster, before it puts his curses, we put one multicolor curse. So these go here, and then we put a multicolor curse there. And that one needs one blue, one white, one red, and one green, plus the effect that's on there, if you happen to land on it, of course. Then in round 4, that happens again, and in round 5, there's actually 2 multicolored curses. And in round 6, again 2 multicolored curses. On higher difficulty levels, as you can see, you get much more multicolor curses. And that is basically the game. Now there are a couple of things that would be good to know about madness cards. Let's say I have madness cards. And let's say I have to draw another one into my hand, like one of the monster set. I think, was it the one we actually had to face? This one. Each player adds 1 madness to their hand. Let's say I would have to do that now. And it would be my turn. I would be using some cards, for example. And I would need to redraw. Well, these stay. I cannot get rid of them. So now I need to draw 3 cards only because my maximum hand size is 6. Which is very terrible. So there are a couple of ways of getting rid of these madness cards. First of all, you could heal them by discarding 2 of the same element. So I could spend 2 fire to get rid of this one and 2 green to get rid of this one. Sometimes you have madness cards in your support. You can actually move them into your support as well by using ice. Place 1 card from your hand in support. It's completely fine to do that with madness cards. You could also destroy them using combustion. So that's actually cheaper than heal, because I would discard 2 of an element. I could just use 2 fire to supercharge this one. And then I could destroy 2 cards from my hand, which then would be the 2 madness that I could destroy. Alternatively, let's say the other player had a madness card in his support, then I could also heal those, like using the heal yourself thing, for example, by discarding these 2 green and getting rid of this, because, as I said before, the support pool is a common pool of cards, and that is the same for madness cards as for element cards. Each character has a special trait. For example, this guy here, during your turn, you can discard 1 madness card from your hand and draw 1 card. So he's quite resistant against madness, which is quite nice. Of course, they only go to his discard pile, so he's going to redraw them again, but it can definitely save you in a pinch. This one here can have up to 6 spells. Normally you can only have 5, but this guy can have 6 spells, which is quite nice, because normally if you buy a new spell, then you have to get rid of one of the cards that you already had, which is terrible because basically all spells are really nice to have, so it's a tough choice very often. But that's quite nice, and that this one can have 6. All the other characters have different abilities, which is definitely ensures even more replayability. And that's the game. So the game plays from 2 to 5. Whenever I play it on my own, I will always play as 2 characters. I've never tried to play with just 1 character, but I kind of really like the interactions of where you have to quickly let the other person do a turn using telepathy. I think that's a really brilliant game mechanic. So I normally play with 2 characters. There's different ways of adjusting the difficulty. First of all, this is easy, normal, hard. But then there are also some extra rules that you can do. For example, that you already start with a madness card in your deck, or that you're starting 2 power card, as normally this one starts with 1 2 power green card, is only a 1 power card, for example. So the rulebook comes with a lot of ways of adjusting the difficulty just to really suit you and the people you are playing with. So this is the Big Book of Madness. The rules are very simple, but the gameplay is actually surprisingly deep. I've been playing this with a friend and we had tons and tons of decisions to make and tons of things to discuss about. And also when you play it solitaire, it's a very interesting puzzle game. So I hope you found this video useful and see you next time.